something happened in the 1980s. A nation once with a booming economy has vanished. People started to become more and more greedy. As a result, this happened. Workers received less pay and couldn't support themselves. CEOs found ways to evade taxes to give more money to themselves. Things need to change. Today, we dive deep into the heart of Vancouver and seek out answers about the income inequality. The time for change is now. We are proud to present you with world-renowned Oscar-winning documentary, The Inequality Gap.
Today, we will be talking about the subject of inequality in Canada. This past week, we went all over Richmond and Vancouver to interview people from different social classes, from the homeless to executives, to compare their thoughts on the issue and to see why inequality exists. We asked some very sensitive questions and hope to uncover some answers. Enjoy.
Looking into the research and actually cutting back costs on social programs like medical care and like education. So what are your thoughts on that? Education to actually not the teachers as well?
I definitely didn't feel I didn't think that was very fair. You guys aren't getting that. You're not getting the fair end. Totally. I think they should be concentrating more on the educational system because you guys are the ones that are going to be our future, right?
Yeah.
So they need to wake up and realize what's going on instead of lining their pockets all the time.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going with that?
What do you think could be a solution to solve? What do you think could be a solution to solve this problem?
To solve this problem? You know what? If I had to guess, I would say that in a nutshell, the poor should have to pay minimal taxes, if any, and the rich should be paying the more taxes because you've got the money, right? Yeah. So it's backwards. Yeah. It should be the other way around because you guys are students. Yeah. You're going to be. What grade are you in? Grade 12. Grade 12, right? Next year you guys are going to be university or whatever, right? And you guys are going to be having to pay big dollars for your tuition, right? Yeah. Where it shouldn't be like that, because if the rich were paying your tuition should be free. Yeah. Actually, the rich millionaires and billionaires don't pay nothing. Yeah. And that's where it's wrong. It should be the other way around. And that way, it should be where the billionaires have to pay the most, so you guys should pay very little. Instead of having to pay $12,000 to go to school, it should only cost $1,000. Yeah. Right? And your transportation should be paid for. You guys should get free bus passes. You guys shouldn't have to pay for transit. You shouldn't. You know where I'm going with that? Yeah. That's my theory.
Do you guys know how big the inequality gap is at the moment?
We just sort of talked about 1%. That's a short-term notion making. There's such a huge gap. What the 1% make and what the rest of us make. And in British Columbia, where the minimum wage is so low, and a lot of people don't have the cost of living, the real estate market is out of control, that I think that laws need to be enacted. Something needs to be done to make things more equal. Yeah.
Do you think raising the minimum wage would help us? Because right now, as you said, our minimum wage is very low. You can't live on the minimum wage at the moment, even full time, with 2 people in the family. So do you think it should be raised to higher, like $15 or $20?
Okay, I think that people should make living wages for the cities that they live in. And I think, for teenagers with their first jobs, if they're living at home, then it's okay to make like a minimum wage or a bit more. But I mean, somebody supporting a family cannot live on a minimum wage. I think there's been a lot of policy drift. I think the type of government that you elect really has too much of an influence. I think that we have to redistribute the wealth. It's definitely not fair the way it's going now. I think another big problem too is the destruction of the unions. I really think that unions help help to lift up wages of other workers too. And what has happened is the unions have been depleted and destroyed. And I think that's purposely done by our government under policies. And I think that's, picking up contracts, contracting out. I mean, we both came from the healthcare industry, and it's terrible what's been done to some of those workers in there in the past 10 years.
So, in your opinion, like, what do you think are like the causes of like the like inequality gap in Canada?
I think education. I think education and your upbringing.
Yeah. So you talked about education a bit. So if you were like the Prime Minister of Canada and you had like power to do anything you wanted, what would be your like strategy to like maybe like close the gap a bit?
I think I would offer education to everybody and in a very cost-effective way. And I think everybody out there has the ability to be whatever they want to be, and people have to understand that. So I wouldn't be coming up with a bunch of rules and regulations. I'd be letting people I'd be create an environment where people could be themselves and be what they want to be.
So you'll be introducing like free post-secondary education?
Not free, but subsidized. Yeah, people have to pay for something to actually appreciate it, I think. So I think the government's responsibility is to provide infrastructure for education, health, welfare, transportation, things like that. And I think, honestly, I think they have to stay out of everything else and let people and companies do their stuff. I know it's a bit of a right-wing approach, but I think the government's got to, and in doing so, reduce taxes to people. And I think people are smart enough out there these days that they can make their own money themselves if they're free of all the government regulation and such. I think there's a lot of waste in government. I think they need to become more efficient, and that saving should flow back to people in the form of reduced taxes.
And possibly back to the education system.
Yeah, absolutely. They should excel in education and health and welfare and transportation infrastructure. If they did that, I think the province would be much better off.
Just first thing, what do you think is like this is about income equality? So basically, like the upper class, like the people who are making millions every year, compared to like the people who are making like minimum wage and everything. So that's basically what our topic of the video is about. So yeah, we're just trying to get your opinion on like the subject and everything. So yeah, just the first question, like what do you think is like the contributor to like inequality in Canada, especially because it is quite large?
Well, I think that maybe my idea would be maybe economic and social status, education, poverty. There's a few different things that come to mind that which could cause it.
All right. So just moving on. So like if you were the Prime Minister of Canada and you had like absolute power in like determining like the policies and everything, would you implement anything, or like, and what would you implement if you would, to maybe like close the gap a little bit so that the lower income people can like have some like.
I think education is a big key. Where maybe post-secondary can be a little more less expensive, a little more affordable. And it's a cycle. You have to break that poverty cycle, and if it's all how you've been brought up. So if you've been brought up that everybody's gone to school and got an education and got a degree, well then you're going to go to school. But if you haven't, because you can't afford it, then the cycle needs to break. So if one family can't afford it, they got to make it affordable enough so where the kids growing up nowadays get that same opportunity, equal opportunity. Right now the opportunity is not the same for everybody. It's only meant to be for the upper class. And especially, for example, maybe in Canada, it's either UBC or McGill, or there's other school you can go to, but she has to make it where it's a little more affordable for everybody.
Great. And so just a little bit into tax rates now, and because tax rates are always a topic for debate, and some people say like, oh, we're not paying enough taxes. Some people say we're paying too much taxes. Just in your opinion, what do you think of the tax rates right now for every like bracket?
Well, you know what, I do think they're excessive. I think in Canada, sometimes maybe the more you make, the more you pay. But I lived in the States for 10 years also, so I see the other side of it too, where the taxes were a little less, but you also receive less. But then you have more money left over to pay for the different things, such as healthcare and other things. But some people are paying enormous amount of taxes, but they're not even don't even need to use that extra benefit that the government's providing. So maybe she can lessen the taxes and spend less on healthcare maybe, and have people have private insurance.
Do you think international immigrants have anything to do with like inequality gap right now?
I think, yeah, obviously it seems like it, but you know, Canada was built on immigrants, so you think you have to have people coming into the country all the time. One of the things I thought lately, and there was a topic on TV, whereas you have a non-residence tax. So if you don't live here and you're not putting money into the economy here, then you buy a property here, you have to pay a non-residence tax. So you know that might work. I don't know the numbers exactly of how many people don't live here and have an investment here as far as residents. I'm not sure about that, but one way to do it is to put a non-residence tax in.
And what about property taxes? Like, what are your opinions on like the property prices of like in Richmond or like in BC in general?
Oh, once again, it's because you're getting some foreign investment. It seems like that. You're getting foreign investment into the West Coast here, or you know, in Vancouver, you know, especially where people are, you know, not really living here and they're coming here just to park their money.
Right now, like the economy is like benefiting your business.
Oh, definitely, it is. There's a lot of building going on. Right now, it's been going on for the last 3, 4, 5 years, or 3, 4 years, where you know, material is moving. And with the Canadian dollar being so low too, so our exports are, you know, are moving a lot too right now. Not as much maybe as importing from the U.S., but lots of exports going on.
And okay, so also like another topic that we cover in economics is like the difference between socialist countries like Denmark and Sweden and like more free market places like the U.S. and Hong Kong and everything. In your opinion, like what system do you think is like better?
Well, I think you ask 10 people and you get 10 different answers, but you know, I like the free marketplace as the U.S. does it. I think that's, for me, it's you know, the more after-tax dollars you have, the more money you'll have to spend, and then you spend it on what you want to spend it on, instead of, you know, you're paying for this, you're paying for that, you're paying for this through taxes.
What we concluded from the general consensus is that many feel that the wealth needs to be distributed evenly. Common solutions brought up throughout the interview was implementing new laws and making education affordable. Looking at countries in the Scandinavian region, their inequality gap is much smaller than Canada. Here is a graph to give you a comparison. These countries have implemented laws for free education, and the Swedish have the best healthcare in the world. Learning from socialist countries such as Scandinavian ones are a good example of where Canada should be heading towards. We believe the inequality gap can be minimized if smart laws like these are passed in Canada.